Do you want to feed your dog a raw and fresh food diet, but you don't know where to start? You're not the first one to be there, and if you give me a second, I'll tell you why and how you can get through that. My name is Scott the Dog Dad, and back in 2010, I knew that I had a new dog coming to me, and I wanted to give him the best. I wanted to give him the best leash, the best collar, the best bowl, I mean literally everything else under the sun. However, I ran into a really big problem when it came to the most important thing, food. I know, I would ask, what's the best thing to feed? And this person would say, I'm feeding this kibble and everything else is garbage. And it seems like that was pretty much the sentiment. Everybody said that same thing. This is what I'm feeding and everything else is garbage. It was an absolute nightmare. Then one day in a Facebook group, somebody suggested that I check out raw feeding. And after some reading and some research, I was determined to make it work because I was convinced that it was the best choice that I could make for my dog. That's when I broke my brain. Seriously broke my brain. There was so much conflicting information online with no actual proof that these transition methods were actually working for any dogs out there. This person was saying to transition your dog to raw this way, that person was saying transition them this way. I mean, it was the kibble conversation all over again. We eventually did get my first dog, Wolken, and we were feeding him the kibble that he was weaned onto and that he was eating before he came to us, all while I was learning more and more about how bad it was for him. It was killing me. I was supposed to be my dog's leader, his protector, the one that he could count on more than anyone else. And here I was, feeding him food that I knew was bad for him, was hurting his health, and eventually would make him sick or worse. I felt like I was failing as a dog owner. Eventually, I did figure it out, and I got Wolken and later his brother Horace, that's sitting next to me right now, transitioned onto a raw food diet and decided that I wanted to start helping people do the same thing that I was doing. At first, I started with just friends and family that were curious about it. Then I moved on to an app and helping people one-on-one on Facebook. I loved helping people and seeing the changes that were happening in their dogs once they got transitioned. But honestly, I was getting burnt out. I was typing the exact same thing over and over again into Facebook comments and private messages with people. Of course, I didn't blame and don't blame the dog owners that were asking these questions because they were asking good questions, smart questions that needed to be asked and, more importantly, answered. But I needed a better way to help people where I could help more than one person at a time in a bigger capacity than just a Facebook comment or a private message. After talking to a lot of people that were using the internet to spread their message that they desperately wanted to share with people, that's when I had my big light bulb moment. I was going to create an easy to use and easy to follow online raw feeding course that dog owners could use to transition their dogs to a raw and fresh food diet. And that, my friends, is how Raw Feeding 101 was born. I started learning everything that I possibly could about filming, about lighting like the lights that you see in this video, about writing outlines for the videos that would go into the Raw Feeding 101 course. And I quickly realized that it was going to be a lot harder than I initially thought. The things that I thought were so easy and that I took for granted needed to be broken down into bite-sized pieces of information that people could easily understand and act on. After months of content creation, after tons of filming and editing and refilming and re-editing and several versions, finally Raw Feeding 101 was live and it was changing lives, and I couldn't be happier with the results. Now, today, Raw Feeding 101 has helped dog owners make the transition to raw and fresh foods with dogs of all sizes and breeds, and has even saved some lives. This is what Jamie had to say about her dog Jackson.
Hi, I'm Jamie and I have 2 dogs, and my one dog Jackson was severely sick and he was vomiting and diarrhea. He had gelatinous blood. He lost about 10 pounds. And then thankfully I stumbled across the Raw Feeding 101 courses, and I learned so much. I watched and rewatched the videos. I learned so much information. They're jam-packed full of so much stuff. I totally recommend taking them. My dog, within 48 hours, had a solid stool, and I was never so excited about poop before in my life until he finally had a solid stool after months of having diarrhea. So definitely recommend taking the courses. If you're questioning it, just take the leap like I did, and just what have you got to lose? I already lost so much money at the vet and prescription diets, so I felt like I didn't have anything else to lose. So just take the course.
If you were one of us, the kind of person that would do anything for your dog, the person wanting and needing to put your dog onto a raw and fresh food diet, the person that is sick and tired of the conflicting information in that blog post, in this book, and everywhere else, then Raw Feeding 101 is for you. Raw Feeding 101 will walk with you and hold your hand through every step of the 4-week transition plan. And if you have a puppy, it'll teach you why it's important to transition them to a complete diet immediately and not go through the 4-week transition plan. It'll go over the myths and legends surrounding raw feeding. It will go into how to keep your costs down so that raw feeding is as cheap as possible for you. It will go into common supplements, what they are, how to feed them, when not to feed them, and a ton of other necessary stuff for beginners. Do you have a senior dog? A small dog? A giant breed dog? It doesn't matter. Raw Feeding 101 has you covered. Raw Feeding 101 will work for any dog of any size, breed, weight, or shape. It doesn't matter, it will work for all of them. So if you've got the Chihuahua, got you covered. You have the Great Dane, got you covered. To make becoming a student with Raw Feeding 101 a complete no-brainer for you, we are going to give you exclusive access to the Raw Feeding 101 Students Only Facebook group. We are going to give you lifetime access to the course and all future updates and additions at no additional cost. And of course, we're going to give you lifetime course support so that if you have any confusion, questions, or struggles during the transition process, you have a real person on the other end ready to help you. Best of all, you can try all of this for 7 days, 100% completely risk-free. If you don't absolutely love Raw Feeding 101 and it doesn't help you make the transition to raw and fresh foods, just let me know within 7 days at info@rawfeeding101.com and I'll refund your entire purchase. So if you're a serious dog owner who is dedicated to giving their dog the very best, and you are eager to get them started on a raw and fresh food diet in the easiest, fastest way possible, then click the button below this video and start your 7-day risk-free trial. I can't wait to see you in the members area.